Hi, this is B from Sorcery Soap. So I realized today when trying to help somebody that I didn't have a quick and easy way to explain stamping on soaps, cold process soaps to be specific. So I thought I would explain some things versus show you some things, because the showing of it all, takes a lot of work, and I could get this to you a little bit faster than if I cut it all together and did that. So the reason I just want to talk to you about it so that you can see what I see. And please leave comments if you have any questions. So many of you know that I use a stamp, and I stamp in cold process soap and then fill it in with soap dough to make this example. We'll put it that way. Okay, so let me get comfortable for a second. Yes, and I create and design stamps now because I couldn't find the ones that I wanted to use, and I didn't want to have a bunch that everybody else had, and so I give limited stamps out, or I show limited stamps. I make them available for other people to have them too. Okay, great. So now I stamp in soap dough, and I also stamp on cold process soap. Now cold process soap is a little bit trickier only because each recipe is different. You're going to get a different result. But here's the thing. It seems to me, and I could be wrong with this, but my observation is it seems to me there needs to be sort of a layer between, and I don't know if it's the layer of rubbing alcohol, which I always spray on before I stamp into a bar of soap, or if it's a layer of cornstarch, which I use to keep soap dough from sticking to my surface. But this stamp is from soap dough, and if you can see, the top isn't ruffled. Let's see, okay, and so the top here, I know this light isn't, so there we go. You can see how the top is a little bit ruffled. So when the top is ruffled like that, it doesn't come off with a really clean impression. And even if you fill it in with soap dough, you're not going to get a clean impression. This one wasn't ruffled. And I don't really know how to explain that ruffling top like that. Let me see here. It's not smooth and clean and neat and tidy. I don't know if you can see that. Okay. So here's this. Okay, so this is a small sample, but it's the same recipe that I use for bars, and I stamped it shortly after I cut it. Now, the question is what's the timing to stamp on? When should you stamp on it? Well, you should never stamp a sticky soap. If you stamp a sticky soap, you're going to get this ruffling top. It means it's a little bit too wet, and it doesn't come off, clean. I'm not really sure how to explain it, but it makes this ruffled top on here. But then I also have seen that happen with soap that is too cured or too hard. So the most clean impression I can get is with soap dough. So then I started asking the question, why is it with soap dough? What is it causing? How do I find that little tiny piece of information that helps reproduce these over and over again? And what I've determined is that there is it is so much like soap dough to stamp on soaps that there has to be a consistency of your soap. And what I mean by that is, so let's say you make a cold process batch of soap and you want to stamp all these soaps, and you're excited and you stamp them as soon as you cut them. That is too soon, in my opinion. And one of the reasons why it's too soon is because the surface of your soap is a little bit sticky. As much as you think that it's not, for me, as much as I think that it's not, it is a little bit sticky. I did that yesterday, and I thought, oh, it'll be fine, and I did it, and it came out like this ruffly top. And so I want this smooth impression on it. And one of the reasons I personally want this smooth impression, well, first of all, I think it looks a lot neater and tidier, right, than this. It looks like I munged it up. It looks like I didn't do it correctly. This looks a lot neater and tidier, is because I like to fill it in with soap dough and then scrape it off. I mean, I have a lot of those videos, so I'm not going to show you how to do that. But even here, so let me see, no scent. So this is soap dough. So this turned out like that too. And so I'm like, how did I did this with soap dough. How is it possible that I can make that happen? And I started thinking about it, and there's always a layer of something like cornstarch, or it has to be able to stick together. The soap quality has to be able to stick together and move out of the way of the stamp. Now, again, I don't know if this makes any sense to you, and if maybe something is getting brought to your awareness so that you can understand it a little bit more like I understand it. You know, I don't do any trickery. I mean, I do, but I don't, you know, I don't do any trickery. I just do this, and then I try to find the best results and then share those results, because, you know, like this is clearly, this is soap dough, and it's smooth, and you can see there's no ruffling. Let's see here. And I don't know another word for that ruffling. Like that, nice and smooth. So that's my estimation. That's sort of what I'm coming to terms with, is thinking that there's a layer of something between it. So I'd like to hear what your results are, what your experience is, because you know, we want to get some really good results. I just love this so much. I just think this is so fun. This is all soap dough. I just rolled it a bunch of different colors together, and then I didn't fill it in. So anyway, that's my guess about things so far. And, you know, before I stamp, like this one here, okay, so I stamped this bar directly into the bar. This bar is actually particularly hard, and I was putting sodium lactate in my cold process bar recipe, and I stopped doing it because I thought, well, let's try to get more of a soap dough quality when I cut my bars. And it's just a matter of timing. Like, if I want to put sodium lactate in, that's fine. Sodium lactate makes bars a bit harder and cures a little bit differently, which is fine. But in what I've done for years, because I really like that hard bar, I haven't noticed a big difference in 8-week cure results with or without sodium lactate. It doesn't, almost doesn't matter. So, but I wanted that you know, that smooth finish on here, and so I stamped this. And when they have these stamps, when they have a lot of space, that's an impression stamp, you have to like sort of hit that timing right, versus the lines. The lines will go in almost to the point of, you know, really hard bars. But when it has a bigger impression space like this, then you have to hit that mark right pretty accurately. And this is a new stamp I'm working on, you can see here. And then I just put this on here just to see what it would look like overall. So that it comes in like 5 parts, or wait, 6 parts. I'm not sure if I'm going to produce those, you know, in mass, but I thought it was kind of interesting. Anyway, so yeah, so there is definitely a timing issue. And if you could use the rule of thumb, like I want to stamp my bars approximately like I would stamp soap dough. So when you start to do, when you start to use your stamps, try on a piece of soap dough so you get a feeling of what it feels like to stamp and get a clean result. First of all, just a little small piece, and then stamp that with cornstarch on it, and then you're going to understand a little bit more on how to stamp your bars and get clean results. So anyway, I hope this helped. Let me know in the comments, and like, share, subscribe as always if you want, because you're a grown adult, or maybe not. But have a great day.